If I'm out and about and I shoot a picture on my iPhone, I edit it on my iPhone. And here's how. Hey, why make life more stressful than it needs to be? If you're out and about and you take a picture on your iPhone, you want to send it from your iPhone, right? So that means you got to edit it there. And I use some great apps to edit from my iPhone. And here's how. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is throw the picture into Adobe Photoshop Mix. This essentially gives us a layers option. So bring our picture in, and if I click on the little picture and go duplicate, and I'll do it again, go duplicate again, that gives us 3 layers. And what I'm going to do is work on 3 separate layers: the sky, the river in the middle, and the buildings in the foreground. So I'm using the Smart Cutter to choose the sky because it's a fairly easy cutout. But just to make sure that I can't see a hard line, I'm going to go refine and then put my finger on the feather button and take it up to 50. And that means I'm going to have a soft edge. I'm not going to have a hard edge on the sky, so you won't be able to notice it's a cutout. Now I'm going to come down to the middle layer, and I'm going to choose the buildings at the bottom, and I've cut them out with the Smart tool, but of course that can't give me a proper cutout around the edge. For that, I'm going to have to be more accurate because I don't want to feather this. I think you'll see it if it's feathered. I want a harder edge. So I'm going to choose the lasso tool here, and I'm going to blow the picture up really big so I get nice accurate lines, and start cutting out around the edge. Go really big, look, so you can see what you're doing. And my finger goes across the screen. Obviously you can't see my finger here because it's a screenshot, but my finger's going around the edge, creating the lasso line. I'm speeding it up here now, so you're not having to wait ages to see me do it, but cutting accurately out by zooming in really big, and so we can get accurate cutout. So we'll have cut the buildings out and essentially we've got 3 pictures. We've got the sky, which are the highlights. We've got the river in the middle, which will be the midtones. And then these buildings I'm using as the shadow detail. Now, as you can see, it's chosen some of the river on the Smart, and I want to get rid of that. So I'm now going to go onto the lasso tool, but subtract rather than add, and do much the same thing. I'm choosing these little bits of river here that have been picked up by mistake by the Smart tool, and I'm going to blow it up and go around carefully and remove the bits that I don't want affected on this layer. So as you can see, I've speeded it up, but we're going round, taking these out. And so we have essentially 3 layers. And I'm going to treat these layers as 3 different tonal options. For speed, I'm going to do the adjustments in the preset looks. But you can do adjustments and do them manually yourself. So let's take the top layer, which is the sky, have a quick look in the looks, go through, see what I like. I quite like that. That warm tone was nice because it is a bit of a sunset at the end of the day. You see, that's punchy, that looks nice, but I think the warm one will give us that sun going down look. So now, well, let's take the middle layer, which is the foreground here, and take a look on the looks. That seems a little bit dark, a bit contrasty, nothing here grabbing me. Let's have a look. What have we got? Punchy one, no, it's just too dark. It doesn't look very real, does it, that? Let's go back to one of these flatter. We brightened it. Look, we've used the brightening option, and I still don't think it looks very real. So I think we might have to choose something a little lighter. Let's work on the river. We're working on the river layer now, and I've punched up the contrast in that river layer, and that means the foreground is looking a little bit more balanced, but I still think we need it to go a little bit more subdued, maybe a bit darker. Give us that, that's starting to look a bit better. give us that sun going down kind of image. So if I go into the manual controls of adjust, I can do the exposure and the contrast there. Take it down a little bit. I think we're getting there now. Essentially what we're doing here is using the app to give us control over a high dynamic range, a HDR effect. So we've got the highlights and the midtones and the shadows, and we can manipulate them separately from one another to get just the balance that we want. I'm still looking at this foreground. I think I want that a little bit darker. I want to give the effect of the sun going on. That's still a little bit too light for me. I think we need to get some shadow detail in there and let it go down and let it look like the end of the day. These are just essentially darkroom techniques. You would dodge and burn in a darkroom. We're just being a little bit more accurate over dodging and burning, really. That's all we're doing by cutting out. And that's what the digital software from Adobe gives us. So I'm going to save that now. I'm happy with how that's looking. Now I'm actually going to put it into the iOS software because that's my favourite vignette effect. I like the vignette effect that you get in on iPhones. So I'm going to just tweak the brightness down because, as I say, I don't want too much detail. I want it to look like the end of the day. And that's really the effect I'm going for there. As you can see, that balancing nicely now. I'm going to bung it into Snapseed now, which is a lovely app for putting my favourite black line around the picture. You could do lots. I'm really not using this app to its best effect. There's so much you can do in it in terms of manipulating your pictures. Go have a look at it. It's a free app. So now I've got my black line on. I'm putting it into white border, which is another free app, which puts that lovely white border on. And when the white border's on, it shows me that picture looks a little dark. So I'm going to tweak the brightness up slightly and the contrast. And there, I'm happy with that. That's a nice finished image. So, yeah, very happy. I think these are free apps that you can get on your iPhone. And you can take a picture like this, the original. And with a little bit of time, you can transform it into something like this. To me, a much nicer image, and all we've really done is saturation and light levels.